Hello, I'm Brenda Alfano, and welcome to Mortgage Mysteries, where I highlight and discover the mysteries of local small business owners. Today, my guest is Kevin Barrett. Thank you for being here today, Kevin.
My pleasure.
Kevin is a leadership developer and business coach, and he's going to explain that a lot more, better than I can ever do, here in a minute. So we're excited to have him. So before we get going, delving into the mysterious side of both your business and personal life, I'm going to pose my why question, because I do this at every episode, because I'm always thinking about stuff. So why do businesses who leave their business for a moment put a sign up saying, back in 10 minutes? I have no idea when they left.
So my thought is that it has to be that they just know that you're not going to wait more than 10 minutes. It's also easy for them because then they can be gone longer. If
they can be gone 2 hours, right? But
exactly.
Exactly. But I have never thought about it that way. So I like that. I like that. That makes me think it's not quite so crazy. So, so Kevin, let's get to know about you and your business. And you kind of have a two-pronged business. So hopefully you want to talk about both those things.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's dive in.
Yeah, so I am a certified leadership coach, and I did that after 25 years being the leader of learning in corporate businesses and in retail businesses. And so I've done a lot of training along the way. So I do training as a part of my business as well. But more and more, the coaching aspect of thing is really taking shape for me. So I do a lot of coaching with leaders in organizations, but also business owners as well. And also have a leadership development program, actually 2 different programs that I run as well that kind of combine training and coaching. So it's definitely two-pronged, as you mentioned.
So who are you attracting most as far as leaders of companies or individuals needing private coaching? Where's it going?
It's a great question. I'm actually seeing a good mix of both.
Oh, good.
I think more and more people are starting to recognize that nobody's there to take care of your career for you, right? So nobody's going to make sure you've got training. Nobody's going to make sure that you've got the skills that you need to be successful, right? And if you work for an organization that does, fantastic, right? But nonetheless, you've got a place you want to get to, so people are taking advantage of that and doing that. Oftentimes their organization will pay for it as well, but they're taking the initiative to do that. There's also organizations that are still doing that, and so they're setting up basically programs that their employees can be involved in and get trained or get coaching.
So who would you say for the leadership part would be your ideal client?
Well, I think it's somebody who does recognize that they don't have all the leadership capabilities that they need, and particularly coming out of the pandemic, there's just so many demands on particularly middle managers. That's kind of who I work with, and business owners, and so it's hard to meet those demands, and so it's really that. For business owners, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I started my business in the garage, and I knew how, I built everything and I packaged everything and I shipped everything out, and now I'm bringing employees on and I don't want to let go.
Right.
And so, they're having to learn how to let go and how to treat people in a way that isn't, I'm hovering over your shoulder and I'm, you have to do it exactly the way I've done it for 3 years.
So I look at that as that's the difference between management and leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
How would you describe the difference?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. And I think to be a leader, you have to be very self-aware. You have to really do a lot of self-reflection, and you have to understand how what you do influences other people, either positively or negatively. And particularly the larger the team, the more important that is, right? And you have to also learn how to let go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a huge challenge. So.
I always think of a manager as somebody who makes sure the job gets done, and the leader is someone that everyone's looking up to aspire to.
Yeah. And we actually have 2 different programs in the Success-Minded Leader program, where one is really designed for people who manage both strategy and people, which tend to be middle managers, executive level, and business owners, and then people who simply manage people, right? And so that might be new managers, new supervisors, new project managers, individual contributors that need to influence people. But there is a huge difference there. And you're right. It's very much task-oriented as a manager as opposed to strategy-oriented as a leader.
Right. I wish, my goodness, I'd known you back when I was thrown into a not just management, but leadership position as opening up a brand new credit union branch with literally no training in that direction whatsoever.
Well, there's been some interesting data lately. The Center for Creative Leadership did a study, and they actually went out and looked at performance reviews. They asked companies if they could look at anonymous performance reviews, and they discovered that about 60% of the managers are ineffective at what they do based on their performance review. That, I think it was like 26% of those managers, their employees think they're lousy at being a manager, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because we take the best accountant and we make them the accounting manager, or we take the best salesperson and we make them the sales manager. But those skill sets are very, very different, right? And if you don't provide somebody with the training and the understanding of how those skill sets are different, then if I'm the sales manager, I'm going to teach you how I sold, which may not work for you.
Exactly.
Right? Or may not work for the team, or may not work for customers because they don't have all the little things that I might do to make a customer happy.
And I always say you can know how to enjoy a steak. That doesn't mean you know how to cook one.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means you don't know how to run a restaurant necessarily. So what would you say your best strength is in these two arenas, so to speak?
Yeah, I think it is the coaching aspect of things, and it's primarily because, for both of them, I really like seeing the light bulb go on for somebody. That makes my day. Right. But for the coaching, it is really so transformational for people. And people don't necessarily realize how transformational it can be for them. And so to be able to see somebody over a period of months or even a year go from this one person who came in to the coaching to somebody completely different when we're done, it's just fantastic.
So satisfying. That would be so satisfying. So what do you think sets you apart from others? And there's lots of coaches out there. I don't know the coaches in the world that you as much. Yeah. But there's lots of coaches. So what do you think sets you apart?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One, and I really have learned this from my clients, is my demeanor. And I don't, my thing is that I'm not, and a lot of coaches make this mistake, and a lot of people who look for coaches make the mistake of looking for somebody who's just going to give them advice. That's not me. I don't give you advice. What I try to do is I try to have you self-discover. So I ask lots of questions, and I ask you, hey, did you think about doing this? Right? And then let them come back with that. Or what would happen if something, whatever it is. And we all know, from our own experiences that when you self-discover, right, you're much more likely to do it than if somebody says, do this. Right?
Exactly.
And so for some coaches that are out there, that's what they do. They give advice and they just say, do this, just follow this plan and do this.
More like a teacher than a coach.
Right, exactly.
So, I had a thought on that as far as, in a way, you're kind of a bit of a counselor.
Oh, there's lots of that.
Line there, right?
Yeah, I am not a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination, but that does come into play.
Right, because you're kind of, it's kind of the same world. So, okay, so we've learned about your business. So now let's talk about your mysterious side. So what is it that Kevin likes to do outside of coaching, leadership, for fun, hobby, advocation?
I am a huge advocate for childhood learning, and have been for a number of years. And I have donated over the years to an organization called the Parent-Child Home Program, which is a program where they actually send folks out. It's primarily for kids that are low income, because, not surprisingly, they don't have a lot of kids' books. Their parents don't tend to read to them because they're working, right? And so this program actually has counselors that go out to low-income families. They provide books. They provide some toys. They actually coach the parents on teaching kids how to read, and they just have amazing statistics in terms of the increase in that. And that has actually led to another program which my cousin's daughter started in a school in Oklahoma, and we're actually putting together a nonprofit for that, which basically really encourages kids to read. And she's 1 year into it and just had amazing results. Very excited kids who didn't care about reading in the least before, that absolutely are fired up now about reading.
So exciting.
Yeah, it's so great. And comments from their parents saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe how excited they are about reading. And they want me to read to them, and I just love it. It's a special time for us. So I'm excited about that. We're probably another 60 days away or so from launching the nonprofit, but I'm very excited about that.
Well, on an aside, I'd love to know more about that and see if I could get involved, because I wouldn't even be doing this video series today if it wasn't for the fact that I love to read, right? And then because the mystery part of Mortgage Mysteries is because my favorite genre is mystery. And it's mostly books, and I can't imagine not reading and enjoying how much that is. So that is so cool. That is so cool. Well, thank you, Kevin, for being here today. It was great to get to know more about you. I did not know that at all about you, so that's really exciting. So how can people reach you?
Well, they can look up my website, truenorthskills.com, or successmindedleader.com, which is the leadership development programs that we've got, and all of my contact information is there. Also have a Facebook page, True North Skills, and let's see, Instagram, and
All the socials.
all the socials. So
Great. Well, thank you to everybody that's watching today. So that we can learn more about small businesses, please find me at curiousbrenda.com. Please like and subscribe, and please keep curious.